This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Brandon Andrus Green.
Welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast Live. Pain does not always begin where it is felt. Today's guest has spent 4 decades teaching practitioners to look beyond the obvious symptom and understand the body as a connected whole. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing your good neighbor, Leigh Ankrum with Ankrum Institute. Leigh, how's it going?
It's going well. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for having me. Glad
You're
to
so
be here.
welcome. We're so excited to learn all about you and what all you have going on. So for someone hearing the term for the first time, what is functional body work?
Functional body work truly means that you are looking at somebody as a whole, that you don't get caught up just in the symptoms. You allow the symptoms to be something that is telling you the story. So in functional, you're looking at the whole of the person so that you can see kind of where the origins are, where something's really stemming from. That's what true functional is, whether it's body work or medicine or whatever. It's like looking at somebody as the whole. Yeah.
And how did you get involved in this in the first place?
Well, I started as a massage therapist in the late 80s or 87. And then I started educating myself over time. And so the wild thing is that in educating myself, it ended up that I was taking all these trainings that were all things that were under the heading of osteopathy. And osteopathy is the original school or the original idea of functional, where you're looking at the whole of a person. So I ended up in 2003 to 2008 going to a French osteopathic school that took every single thing I had learned over the years and put it together so that then I truly began to understand how we functionally operate and how systems interrelate. So it was going to that school that took all the pieces that I had separately done and put them together in this bigger understanding. So that's how I got there, And then once I went to school, my understanding just expanded and expanded and expanded over time. So it's still expanding, I have to say. I'm still learning and understanding more all the time.
I know you often say principles, not just techniques. What does that kind of change in the treatment room? And can you kind of help our listeners understand kind of a little bit what that means?
So, it's one of those, it's like that adage, if I feed a man a fish, he eats for a night. But if I teach a man to fish, then he can eat for his life. So if I understand the principles of how a body works, if I understand them, then it allows me to get bigger than just be symptom driven, is to really understand the principles and not just have techniques. So, if somebody has low back pain and I only have techniques in my thinking cap, then I'm only limited to those techniques. But in the example of low back pain can be coming from your small intestines. Low back pain commonly comes from kidney tension, but you don't feel it in the organ or the place. Where you feel it is in your muscles or soft tissue. And those are the 2 classic places that you get low back pain from. But the driver is silent. So that's a principle, is understanding like that. There's a sort of a statistic that says 65 to 90% of the pain in your muscles is coming from your organs. So that's a principle that you hold. So when somebody comes in and says something to you, says, I have pain in my shoulders all the time, then and my graduates and students start clicking into what it is that's possible to create that. So that's what functional and principles are actually rooted in. So, yeah.
To me, this all kind of sounds. I'm a layman. I don't know much about this, but it sounds real common sense like. It seems like I don't know. It kind of reminds me of Chinese medicine, but it seems like we shouldn't be just focusing on the symptoms all the
Oh,
time. How did we get so far away that now we're just a symptom-based society?
well, that would take a whole nother conversation. Let me just let me
Can of
just
worms,
say that.
right?
And yes, yes. And there's a whole kind of limiting that happened in the last 100 and something years, 150 years. So there's been a drawing in and a limiting that we've been becoming more and more myopic in the institutions that really work with people in their pain and dysfunction and illnesses. And because of that, sides like what I'm in, the field that I'm in and the field that these other functional medicine docs and naturopaths are in is growing. That's why there's so much of that. It's in response to this limiting factor. And so, that's a toughie. And it's still happening that when you go to the doctor with something, they're really getting, how they look at only the one thing and not understanding these interrelationship principles, you know. It's amazing. I mean, it's amazing because even things like I'll give you another example is like people get vertigo or ringing in the ears. And the first place, the two things I'm going to think about when somebody comes into me this way is I'm going to think about, are they dehydrated or is the kidney actually having some kind of tension in it, which is very common, the kidney to be common. And the kidney creates pressure, and that can change what's happening in the head, giving ringing in the ears. And of course, your organs of balance are in there as well, and change that. So this is why we've got to step back, and also at the same time with understanding these principles, I also have to be a detective. Everybody has to be a detective to sort of go, well, I think this, but now let me prove it or let the body show me what it is. So,
And
uh,
how has the general public here in America, or even here in Oklahoma, responded to this?
well, first of all, myself and the people that have graduated that are truly doing the work are busier than all busy. They are really busy because you help somebody with something that they've been challenged with for years. I mean, I've had people that have had stuff going on 20, 25, 30 years, and then they
Totally.
come in, so because we come to it differently, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, we are all busy. We are all super busy. And my school draws people. So I have a practice and I have a school, and the school draws people from all over the country to come and take the program. Yeah. So that's what's happening. And more people want to help people. So it's it's an interesting kind of mix going on.
So there is money to be made in alternative medicine, right? I assume that America has become such a symptom-based nation just because the money behind it, but it seems like the tide's kind of turning. Is that correct? Or
Oh, it is. Well, here's the thing is I'd like to say the tide is turning because I see so many more people searching for functional kind of help. There's
right.
a tremendous number of people doing that, but there's also, the people that are still, there's a lot of people that are still locked into some of the old ways of thinking. And, people like me and my graduates and people who are doing more functional work, they're, people, how do I say this? How do I do this? Is to say that a lot of people don't know and understand it. People will lay on my table and then they'll say to me, what do people do who don't know about this kind of work? And
Right.
the sad thing is that they suffer. That's what happens is they suffer and they have to take more medications. It's a really sad thing. It's sad.
So are you the average person that actually finds you, are they usually in a pretty rough state?
Oh, yeah. They're in a pretty rough state, usually, yes. Because I'm all the way down the line. By the time somebody finds me, they've had a lot going on. I'm totally honest with people. Can this be helped? Or sending them to places where I feel like they can be helped. So there's It's kind of like that, but they are, people are having multiple surgeries and injections and all sorts of things. So, also the ability of those of us who have like graduated to help somebody is also dependent upon how much they have going on, how much intervention there's been, what's their belief system, what's their stress and anxiety doing. So all these things are also part of the mix besides just the hands-on work.
And how are you able to relay this to your students? How are your students able to become mini Leigh Ankrums when it seems
Oh,
like it's so complex?
it is complex. So here's the thing. First of all, I don't want everybody to be a mini Leigh Ankrum. What I really want is for their own expression. Once they understand, see, the thing about it is that I tell them is you need to know anatomy, you need to know the principles, and then I teach them these techniques, but the techniques are not like written in stone that you have to absolutely do it this way, because say your body needs me to come to it in this particular way. So, the program up until now it takes 2 years and 2 months to go through my program because it meets every other month. But the next and my very last training, which starts in January, very last one, I'm not doing them anymore after this, is going to meet every month for 14 months. So it's cumulative and you grow into it. But the same thing of the graduates have told me is that it's like after you've graduated about a year and you've been working, you get this like aha, and then they keep happening. The depth of your ability keeps growing. That's like any profession or anything. It totally keeps growing. Me at 20 years after osteopathic school, 20, however many years, I have that much more ability and perception, and what I see, my vision and my ability to touch has changed immensely, and deepened. It just keeps deepening. So it happens over time.
So what does the future kind of look like for the Ankrum Institute? Any hopes, dreams, or plans?
Yeah, so the Ankrum Institute, as I just said, has this one last program gonna go. You can go to our website, the ankruminstitute.com website, and you can, look at our website and also, email us with questions or whatever. We're happy to do that. So there's one more class. And then what happens is that as this is happening right at now, I'm actually writing a book, and I'm also creating the opening for me to do workshops all over not only all over this country, hopefully, but also internationally, go and to other schools and start to teach part of the parts, maybe in osteopathic schools in other countries, the parts that are missing for them, like the principles, because they don't teach that in those DO schools and stuff like that. So I'd love to do that. So I kind of have this expanding time of putting my focus over there. So that's that's what my future looks like. Mm-hmm.
And what's your plan with the book? What will that be over?
Well, the book I'm writing, it's kind of interesting. It sort of covers a couple of places or a few things. It's autobiographical in the way in which I've learned, and it's definitely autobiographical. And then each chapter, it's kind of interesting because each chapter is going to have a part at the end that has, because I have if Leigh Ankrum Facebook page, and I do posts, and so I have a tremendous number of posts from the last 5 years. So I'm going to put one at the bottom of each chapter, and then I'm going to put a client story or clients letters that clients have written to me about the help that they have had. So it's kind of a combination of learning and some interesting, the journey to how it took to get here. So that's kind of what it looks like. It's going to take me another, I don't know, whatever it is, 9 months or something, a year to really get it finished, because I'm in definitely the writing stage.
And what's the best way for our listeners to kind of follow along on this journey? I know that you have an impressive digital footprint Is it the website? Is it the Facebook page? What's the best way for them to kind of follow along?
So definitely I have two websites. I have the ankruminstitute.com website, and there is now just recently, I mean, like in the last week, I put a Leigh Ankrum, it's leighankrum.com, also website. I also post daily, just about daily on Facebook, some interesting thing. I just today posted about the upper neck today. So it's not about my house or my dogs. It's actually
Right.
about your body and what happens. I also have there's a bunch of YouTube videos that I did over the years. I haven't put one on there in a while, but there's a lot of them that are on there about all different parts of your body and how it works. And some of the Facebook lives that I did are on there. So it's all kind of collected there. But to reach us at the Institute, all you have to do is go through the Ankrum Institute website and then contact us. And I'm happy to call you or to email you back or whatever.
Perfect. And for our listeners, it is Leigh is how you spell Leigh, correct?
Yes.
Leigh. So
Yes.
Leigh, and then Ankrum is Ankrum.
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. And what's one thing that you really want our listeners to remember?
Ooh, you know what? I really want your listeners to remember to actually breathe.
Ah,
Just really breathe. That's what I want you to remember,
yeah, it's easier said than done, right? Because it's not
Oh,
just breathing;
totally.
it's breathing correctly.
Right. Totally. Totally. It's not
Just breathe.
underrated
Just
either.
relax. Yeah,
Just breathe, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
We say it as if it's easy.
Yeah. I know. It's funny.
Well, Leigh,
Thank you.
I so appreciate you being on the show, and I wish the best for the Ankrum Institute going forward.
Oh, thank you so much, Brandon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnptulsa.com. That's gnptulsa.com or call 918-301-6356.